Okay, sorry about that. Everything's starting to lock up here a little bit. Yeah, I was starting to get all the cars out of the barn because the people are coming tomorrow to get the garage door openers up, and they're going to come pave the driveway down around the barn. That's a big day. All right, let's get to the Dow. That's right. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure buys a lot of cars. All right. We were still watching when they pulled back to this support level what they were going to do. So we had a doji spinning top. So that's why we were a little bit, what do I say, a little bit ready to see which way they were planning to open it. Obviously, if they'd opened it lower, I told you we had kind of a double doji sandwich heading to the downside, which could have taken us all the way down to the 200-day moving average. The fact that we opened positive today and started trading positive was evidence that these two indecision days right on the support level was telling us we were going back up and we could be buying aggressively. And we would hold as long as they close these markets back up toward the top end of the trading range. The S&P 500, well, that's not quite what we normally had, but it popped up a little bit. But most bullish was the NASDAQ, that not only opened right up right about at the T-line, but then continued to trade positive today, taking us up above the T-line. Once again, telling us that the support level here and the 50-day moving average was kind of giving us a double bottom. So the probabilities at this point are that they're going to still continue higher, with this being now our likely target. So the fact that we can see visually what, and this was a good piece of evidence right down here. This is what provides a lot more information to us than just bar charts or people looking to see what the market actually did. Notice on Thursday, they opened it here and closed it here, and the NASDAQ was still down on the day. So I would say a good percentage of investors that aren't watching the markets very closely or even watching the markets very closely would think, all right, the NASDAQ's down further. So if we could see they were buying once it opened. It's told us there was buying in here. Crude oil prices continue to waffle in here. We're in this downtrending channel, but it's not really going with any great vigor one way or the other. So we're still sitting right around the 48.50 area. And if they bring this back up, doing that kind of little J-hook pattern bobble, that tells us they've got a good possibility of breaking this level right here, taking oil prices higher, which means there's quite a few of the oil stocks that are still being picked up good charts. Let's see. Those trading currencies, we can see what's happening in the the dollar. Dollar came back down, did a bullish engulfing hammer type signal, bouncing right off the 50 area, did a doji sandwich today, still trading up. I would suspect you're in this uptrending channel, that the next target is up here going to some new recent highs on the dollar. What else do we need to look at? Interest rates. Bond prices still slowly creeping back up. Not anything that would tell us there's any great urgency as far as the interest rates going up quite a bit. Let's see if I can get a better gold chart. Gold chart back down below the T-line. That's the June. That's what I want. GCAM5. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Notice how it just touched the 50-day moving average. Bearish Harami, hanging man, lower open, closed below the T-line. Where's the next suspicion of a target? Well, look at your bottom of your trend channel, down here someplace. So you want to be short gold, silver. Well, things are relatively slow tonight. That's just not coming up. I'm still long April cattle. There's the J-hook pattern. Notice a little slow curve. They backed off a little bit today, but they closed just above the 3T line, telling us there's still no aggressive selling going on. I haven't taken a look at some of the other ones. This is lean hogs. Lean hogs, after some bottoming action down here, bullish engulfing signal, staying above the T-line. If I'm buying this, I'm a little bit more cautious. I'm just watching this downtrending channel. Let's see if I can get this downtrending channel. Seeing where this downtrending channel is, which means it probably needs to break out through the 20. Yeah, there's always somebody. That's why you don't ever listen to anybody, because they all have opinions. Let's see if I can get... This is copper. Bah humbug. The June contract. Let me see what the... This is May. Okay. CPAK5. Looks like copper. Remember, there isn't a real reversal signal here. This is just an up day. Now I'd start watching for the reversal signal, because once they pull back, if we see a bullish signal here, that's telling us we got a J-hook pattern in progress. Yeah, Peg, there was the other one. It was Joseph Granville back in the, I think he was around in the 70s when I was a stockbroker. Old gravelly voice. Every time the Dow hit 1,000, it's time to sell. The market's going back to 500. Well, it pulled back to 750. And he was telling everybody to continue to stay short when the market went all the way up to 3,500 back then from 1,000. And then finally he turned himself around and said, oh, we're in a bull market. So it took him that long to figure out that the bulls were in control. Cotton. What did I do here? AK5. Cotton, I wouldn't be trading this one long or short right now. It's in a waffling mode. And cocoa. Uh-oh. Cocoa is K. All right. Cocoa, you can be going short. You've got the bearish J-hook pattern. Let's make this bigger where we can see it. Bearish J-hook pattern. Look at the doji sandwich to the downside. Notice where they brought it back up to today. Tried to get back up above the T-line and failed. You can be going short on cocoa. That's a, I'm going to put a little star next to cocoa. That should have more downside. And soybeans. Soybeans, same scenario. It's still in this little downtrend. It's got an open lower after hours, but it's got the potential of doing a doji sandwich, bearish doji sandwich. Let's make this bigger. Which would give you a bearish J-hook pattern, which means your downside could be down in this area, or at least down in this area, coming to the bottom of the channel. Okay, let's see. Dollar, gold, silver, interest rates, crude oil. All right. Okay, I was going to do some of the mechanics of a spread tonight, but I realized that by the time I put all the charts together with the addition and then tried to flip back and forth, we wouldn't have a very good process. So I will do up a spread and a staggered spread session. I've got to check my schedule. I think they've got us booked almost every night. But we will do a spread and staggered spread session here as soon as possible, hopefully within the next 5 business days. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? What did I just do? Okay. Still like our FMSA, anytime we can recognize a pattern, there's that scoop pattern, and you can see what the scoop pattern produced over the last week or so. At the same time, the market was coming back pretty strong. So that's why we would like to stick with the patterns, because they've got 2 benefits. One, they usually can fight through oscillations in a market as long as the market is not falling out of bed hugely. And it will, what did we just do? And the upside potential is usually much greater than just an uptrending stock during an uptrending market. I don't know what a... Okay. All right, anytime I'm reading Marty's comments that it was a 30 delta strangle, which is probably something that is way more complicated than I care to get involved with, because I've got so many trades on, I can't spend a whole lot of time on any one trade. But the other hand is we might do a night where we have Nora, if I can get her to come on, Don M., Big Al, some of the people that already have very good option strategies, and maybe just have them, each one of them do 20 minutes on what their strategies are. I don't play with deltas, only because any time I'm working with something, it's usually a pattern that's not going to have any relevance to the previous delta. So if you were trading off the delta of this stock, it would have absolutely nothing to do in this move compared to this move. I'm more interested in seeing what the next move is going to be based upon human nature. All right, so where is the upside potential? I have no idea on this one. I'm just owning it until I see a sell signal, and probably the first sell signal I see, especially the further we move, and I say we move away from the T-line. The T-line is going to follow this up. When I see that first sell signal, I'll probably take some profits. Okay, let me see what else we got. We also had recommended, and we re-recommended Bontons, because it started with a kicker signal. We're in a 45 degree, and notice where it moved back to last week, right smack dab to the T-line, and started back up. Where do you think our logical target is at this point? Up here to the 200-day moving average. And Rite Aid, we're going to just go through some that are working, that we've been in. Rite Aid also had that little scoop pattern. We're staying long on this one until we see a sell signal. And again, where's the potential target? I would say right now the first potential target is drawing a line right up through the tops here, which means we should be heading up into this area before we start seeing some profit taking. Now, will it move up there? Who knows? But at least it's a target that probably everybody else is watching, and if everybody else is watching that target, they're probably not going to sell with any great enthusiasm until it hits that target. So they act, whatever targets are, usually kind of act like magnets, because that's what everybody's anticipating it's going to go to, and they're not going to sell before it gets to that level. ADXS, we started buying this one again today. There was the little morning star signal. You can see the type of little J-hook pattern setting up, and it closed here which is significant. Let me make this big enough where I can even see it. Closed at a recent high, which means if this opens positive, what type of pattern do we have? We have our doji sandwich, J-hook pattern breakout. And what's our next target? This move right here, which was essentially about 5.5 points. That could take us right up into about the $19.50, $20 range. Now, we also recommended in the option room buying Cyber, because notice what Cyber did today. It's had a morning star signal, a kicker signal, a piercing signal, all with stochastics bottoming out and starting to come back in. There's 3 buy signals in here. And finally today, with a doji sandwich, it broke through this little level. And if you drew a line down through the tops, it essentially did a little gap up through that level, still making this a good high probability going into wave 3. So on buying the April 55 calls, there's a good probability if this breaks out, it could move up to here, which would be a decent profit. Potentially, I hate that thing, potentially move back up to here, which would be a much more decent profit. And if we go into wave 3, which is about 30 points, that tells us we should be up in about the $95 area. And if it gets to 95, there's just kind of a simple rule that if a stock hits 90, it will usually hit 100, because that's just the next round number that a stock goes to. And that brings us to SWKS, morning, or a little J-hook morning star type signal, positive trading today. You can be buying this on positive trading because you anticipate there's going to be another steady eddy as long as it stays above the T-line. Positive equal higher than previous close, or opens lower than previous close, and I'm mentioning moves. Yeah, David, real quick on our quadrants. We want to be buying on strength. We want to see this confirmed strength. So there's 4 things that can happen on an open. One is the most positive, where looks like all the indexes are opening positive, and the stock that you're anticipating buying, if it opened positive, you want to be buying, and it's opened positive. I usually give it less than a minute to make sure that the buying is still there. They didn't open it and started selling it off. So I'll start buying it right away, within a minute or 2. On the other hand, if the Dow and all the markets open weaker, like down 50 or 60 points, not necessarily saying there's a reversal, but could be a reversal, and the stock opens higher, I'll just give it a few minutes to see, and that few minutes may be 45 minutes until the market they open lower is now starting to come back up, or they open it kind of lollygags, and even though the market's down and starting to trade positive, I'm going with the signal. I thought tonight was supposed to be a training on how to use indicators we bought for TOS. No, David, yeah, Jim's right. That people that bought the indicators for TOS, I got to write that down. And we'll see if Hubert will come back on and do another session on how to set up your scans for TOS and TradeStation. Another training. Yep. What we were getting right now is giving people free access to what we come up with the different scanning techniques, not necessarily directed toward any specific one. Is that not YouTube? Is that not on YouTube? It could be. Yeah, I think we didn't really put out some videos. If I am buying, Darren, I'm buying based on the daily chart because I'm a swing trader. So my trades are going to usually last 2 or 3, 4, 5, 10 trading days. But if the third quadrant, let's say the market opens positive and the stock opens lower, I won't buy it until I see it come back up through the previous day's close, because if it opens lower and starts back up again, what type of candle is it going to produce? It's going to start producing another green candle that tells you that the bulls are still there. That's when I buy. And then the fourth quadrant is the market opens lower and the stock opens lower. You don't do anything until you see the markets turn around. What do you think about window dressing at the end of a quarter? Nothing. It's only good at best. It's only going to work for one day. I'm more interested in what the total chart is telling me. Okay, so anyways, I got off track here. I've even lost my list here. What were we looking at? Oh, cyber. Were we looking at cyber? Yeah, well, that's right, I think. So cyber, I will still be buying this, both calls and stocks, if it opens positive, because that's exactly what we expect after a doji sandwich, which is more upside. If we get more upside, what's it telling us about this downtrending channel? That it's being breached. Okay, there is a Tuesday night free session. Okay, great. All right. I'm usually the last one on the schedule for anybody to tell me what's going on. LPI is one of the oil companies. Fry pan bottom is still in progress. And we also had picked up CPE, which needed to close back up above the T-line, which it did because it's in a scoop type pattern. And now it's doing the bobble, which is came up here to the 200, has pulled back to the T-line. And notice they couldn't close it below the T-line. So it makes this a very interesting, or say a very positive trade setup. If it opens positive, if you own it, you stay long. If you're looking to buy it, you wait for it to close up above the 200 because that means your J-hook pattern is still in progress. You better consult Sandy is right. Isn't that an evening star? Yes. But it's also, you got to analyze what the evening star did. It took you down. But where did it take you down to? The T-line. So our next analysis is this a full reversal or is this a bobble based upon where everything is closing? Well, first of all, we know we're probably in an uptrend because of the scoop pattern. Because what do we expect out of a scoop pattern? That slingshot effect to the upside. So that evening star signal told us more than likely they were pulling it back, but our first criteria or our first target would be what are they going to do once they get to the T-line? But today they told us exactly what they were doing. They closed it right on the T-line. Now they'll tell us what they're doing tomorrow. If they open it lower, yeah, you can close it out because that tells you the evening star is still in progress. If they open up positive, you get ready to buy it because that tells you the J-hook pattern's in progress. So essentially what we're doing is we're analyzing immediately what's going on with investor sentiment at technical levels, like the 200-day moving average, but we're using our other confirming indicators to see what patterns are in progress. So don't get hooked on just using the signals, because you also have to apply it to what patterns are setting up and what your confirming indicators are doing. That also was true in Whiting. After the new offering, Whiting took a big dumper here, but notice what they haven't been able to do. They haven't been able to close it back below the level that when they first opened it, they started taking it up, and we had the hammer type signal today, and look where our stochastics are. They're getting into the oversold area. So what does the stochastics in combination with the signals tell you? Well, they usually will just kind of waffle it around when the stochastics are getting near the oversold area, and usually it gets back to this level before they can start taking it up. I'm still fairly confident that they're going to be taking this back up at least to this level, and if they break through here, that means they're going to start bringing it back up into the trading range. All right, what else we got here? INFA. INFA was a good strong chart, because look what we've had. We had the fry pan bottom, we've had the pullback, and remember, the bigger the signal, the more compelling there's been a change of investor sentiment. So when they pulled it back, and the next day they did a bullish harami, pretty much tells us the selling has stopped. So what pattern are we looking at? We're looking at that little cup and handle. Now we've got that double doji setup, which makes it very easy to analyze. But if they open this positive tomorrow, after a doji, more than likely they're going to go positive. And if they go positive, they're pretty much telling us that this level right here is not acting as resistance. We're probably in the next wave to the upside, which could be, if I could do this correctly, somewhat the same magnitude as this wave right here. So wave 1, wave 2 of consolidation. Now it's telling us they're about ready to break out into wave 3. I still have CNAT. I'll get to CNAT here in a little bit because it's going to be illustrating a couple others. Where is CNAT? Ah, there it is. Yeah, we'll get to it. We also recommended ANAC today because you can see what type of pattern it was setting up, kind of a little scoop J-hook pattern. And remember, the Japanese rice traders say, let the market tell you what the market is doing. It's been staying above the T-line. Every time it's pulled back, it's done a pattern. You stay long on this as long as you don't see it close back below the T-line. What is a belt hold? I'll see if I can get to one. There, yeah, Jim is typing in the description of a belt hold. Oh, let's see. All right. Also, you can observe the obvious. When you see that they are buying a sector, like the biotechs, that means it's not just a fluke that one is going up. You had your kind of your Morningstar signal gap up, and what did it do? It broke this downtrending channel. That one did it. Blue, there's your little J-hook pattern again, as long as it stays above. So the illustration here is to say when you see a lot of stocks in one sector, New Link coming right back up, J-hook pattern, that tells you the profit taking's over, and the uptrend that was in progress is still in progress. Yeah, you could consider this a classic on ANAC. There's your fry pan bottom. There's your breakout. There's your J-hook pattern. So the potential of wave 1 and wave 3 would be 27 to 55. I should know what that is. 27 points. 27 points from here takes you in about $78, $80 area. Yeah, you can also buy the if you want to be a little bit more conservative, yes, you can buy the ETF BIB. I pretty much told you where they were profit taking to, right smack dab to the 50-day moving average, which, as you can see in this uptrend, the 50-day moving average kept seeing buy signals every time it came back to that level. So right now, if the BIB stays above the T-line, you know that they aren't selling the biotechs off, and you could be staying in that area. Are there good videos on the website that explain most of the candlesticks? Yes, there are. You've got the 12 major signal package, which is 45 minutes on each of the major signals, telling you where they work, why they work, and most importantly, the Japanese rice traders not only identified what the signals look like for us, but they also describe. So once you can recognize them and you understand why they're being formed, you pretty well have a grasp on the market trends as somebody that would have 50 years of experience in the markets. It just kind of puts, and then one thing that I always contribute to candlestick analysis is that all it is common sense put into a graphic depiction. Everything that we do, I know a lot of people sit there and say, yeah, I knew that, or I can recognize that. I just never saw it that way before. It's just we're buying where the strength weakness is. Yeah, the flashcards are good too. They're just, yeah, I'd rather have somebody else say the products are good than me telling everybody that the products are good, because that doesn't really mean much. It's people using them that are getting effective results from them that is worth hearing about. NBIX, another one. Where did it come back to? Right smack dab to the 50-day moving average and gap back up. This one you can be long again. Once these steady eddies, and notice what this 45-degree did. Ever since it gapped up from here, stayed in a 45 degree until they closed it below the T-line. Oh, let's see. RTRX, one of the, there's that big gap up. There's the pullback. There's your J-hook pattern. This move was approximately 9 points. This move should take you up in about the $32 range. And SEMP. SEMP, we made a lot of money. We took profits not too long ago when we did the left-right combo and it closed below the T-line. With that left-right combo, it had to stay above the T-line. When it opened and started trading down, it was time to take profits. Where did it move to? Right smack dab to the 50-day moving average. Where did it close today? Back up above the T-line. If it opens positive, what do you think the results will be? It'll stay long as it stays back up above the T-line. And NVAX got hammered pretty solid here for the last few days, but then came right back up. So this is why we want to know the simple rules of each of the signals. See a doji. Stochastics coming from the lower end. What do we know about the simple rule of a doji? Prices are usually going to move in the direction of how they open it. So if this opened positive, I'd be buying immediately, or will be buying immediately, because where do you think our next target is? Probably back up into this trend channel and or testing the recent highs. So you've got a good 15% move to the upside. Let's see, you have the 12 signals videos. Yeah, each video is 45 minutes. It's just me droning on, showing you charts of what the signals look like, why they work, what the investor sentiment. And then we also have the other videos on the patterns, and that's what we're kind of combining, is if you understand what the signals are telling you, and you can put that into the evaluation of what a pattern is doing, you've got a pretty strong, high probability trade setup, knowing what each signal should do, and if it does what it's supposed to do, what does that do to the pattern? Do you normally buy on first signal or 2-day or 3-day after? Is it too late to buy days into the move? It's not too late. If I was buying, let's pick out one that I'd be buying on positive trading. This one's already moved up, but where's the pattern breakout? If they open positive after this doji, doing a doji sandwich, I want to be buying, because what's that tell me? The probabilities are that it's going to go much higher. I'm not trying to buy down here anticipating this move. I'm trying to buy in the move knowing that my probabilities of being in the right direction at the right time are extremely high. I don't care to buy here and sell at the absolute top. I'm more interested in getting the fat part in between and going on to the next one. If I can keep my correct trade ratio constantly high with the mid part of these ranges or the moves, that compounding effect is extremely strong. Oh, a kicker signal is, this is not a great illustration, but it is, this is actually a bigger, notice how we opened here and closed here. Then the next day they opened at or above the previous day's open and went this direction. That's a kicker signal. A gap up is just merely the trend was already, or the previous day's signal was already positive, and then they gapped it up. So gap up is just merely that this candle and this candle are pretty much the same color, whereas a kicker signal is that this candle would be a dark candle, and then they gapped it up above the previous day's open and went the opposite direction. All right, thank you, Larry. Okay, what am I looking at now? NVAX Legend. Legend. Now this is a gap up, because notice you already had a bullish candle, and what's this gap up tell us? Where were they gapping it up to? Right back to the resistance level, which tells us if they open this positive, all this, everybody that was buying here knew there was a resistance level and it didn't concern them. They were gapping up to get to that level. That tells me this pattern is still in progress. Do you have a set trade plan? Oh, Joe, be more specific. Yeah, my trade plan is I'm usually trying to find the best trade setups each day. And once I'm in one, I'll stay long until I see a candlestick sell signal and close back below the T-line. Marty, yes. It's if you know it's an ADR, it's gapping every day because the prices are traded elsewhere during the day. So I usually don't trade the ADRs. The only time I trade the ADRs is if the whole trend is still above, all the little gap ups are still above the T-line. How important is stochastics when it is in overbought area, especially the stock is moving higher? You can see, remember, we're not buying stochastics. We're buying the pattern, kind of that 45 degree off of this big move. And remember what the Japanese rice traders tell us. The bigger the move, the higher the probability there's been a change of investor sentiment. And notice where this happened. This broke out when stochastics were still up here in the overbought area. All it's telling us is that we're in an overbought area. We should be a little bit more conscious of looking for that potential sell signal. Doesn't mean we sell until we see our criteria that says we don't want to sell until we see that close below the T-line, because these stochastics could stay positive for months if that uptrend stays positive for months. When you have a positive pattern working and open gap below, do you worry about that gap? Yes. If you've got a positive trade working, I'm trying to think of one, and it gaps down, it shouldn't gap down. If it's in an uptrend, it shouldn't gap down below the previous day's open. That tells you, Jim, do you have a URL for the patterns? Anyways, okay, that was which one? That was Legend. All right, this is also something that we're going to teach people is what we call the bobble. And the bobble is when it comes up and hits a resistance level and pulls back, we're taking profits, because if you cut the chart off right there, what's that telling us? That's telling us the downtrend is still in progress. It could hold at the T-line, but why take that risk? Close out the trade and then get ready to buy if it closes back up above the T-line, or like today when it gaps up. But this pretty much tells you that if they can't close below the T-line, you've got a bobble, which means it's going to be like a J-hook pattern. And if it comes back up through the resistance level, it's going higher. Yes, well, yeah, it gapped down and closed below the 200, which told you they were probably bringing it back to the T-line. So you've got two alternatives. If you didn't close out here, you close out if it closes back below the T-line. So with it closing right on the T-line, makes it very simple. This has to open positive and trade positive to stay long. Now, if I recall correctly, crude oil is pulling back a little bit. It hasn't closed. This is the evening trading session going on right now. But if they close this back up above the T line, you also have a bobble going on. You get ready for this to move higher. And if you get ready for this to move higher, more than likely all the oil stocks that we've been recommending are going to start picking up some steam again. Yes, and also on our website, if you go to, I don't know where it's over in that left-hand blue column, you can go and you can find all the patterns and the formulas for those patterns. Now, for people that like to have formulas done here in the chat room, if you just ask Ed C for a formula, he can usually do it up for exactly what you're looking for, or more than likely he's already done it. He'll just give you that formula. Would you wait for crude oil to get through the 50-day moving average to go long? Oh, at this point, yes. I'd still want to see this tomorrow's trading trade up positive. Then I would start buying with the anticipation it would be coming back up through the T line. I'm sorry, through the 50. Okay, let's see. CNAT. CNAT is also a pattern that we call the message. And the message is they gapped this up. They closed here, opened here, closed here. They gapped it on it off. What was that? That was profit taking. The next day we had a bullish Harami. What did that tell us? The profit taking was over. Sold off today, but more than likely you're going to be in an uptrending channel, 45 degree, because this was the message. That's what we call this pattern, is the message. That even though it opened higher and started trading off, the message was they opened this higher with great enthusiasm. Okay. Yes, Jim Cooper is the rock. Even when I screw up and forget to tell him that we're doing a session, he always seems to be there doing the recording. So I appreciate Jim very much. Here's another message, XON. There's your Morningstar signal. What do we want after a Morningstar signal? We want a positive open. Well, they opened it positive and backed off. What's that telling us? Profit taking. So what are we looking for now? The profit taking to be over so we can start buying, because the message was after the reversal signal. Notice where the reversal signal came off. Smack dab off the 50. More than likely you're going to be in a 45 degree on this. Is the wave count start? It's hits T line or 3. Wave count usually is just a general wherever you think the bottom was. If this is wave 1 and this is wave 2, looks like wave 3 is starting in here. So if this was 18 points approximately, this will be 18 points approximately. You paid Jim well enough. Here is Madison Square Garden, also the message. Gapped up today. What was the message? That they were in this with great enthusiasm. So what happens now? We just wait for today's profit taking to be over. I hate that little thing. And you can start buying this one with the anticipation you're going to be in a 45 degree. Same trajectory as what the trend was prior to the consolidation. Yes, there's Ed C. Anytime you need any type of formulas, Ed C is the person that can make it up for you if he probably doesn't already have it already. So that's exactly what we're looking for on these messages. Notice this message was a doji off the 50, gap up, pull back. What did they tell us? That the profit taking of yesterday is over? Or what is yesterday? Friday was over? I would suspect a 45 degree, the same trajectory as what the trend was prior to the pullback. And that's another great benefit of our chat room, and which I hope we kind of instilled that in everybody, that it's a place where you share information. I've run into so many people through the years that if they find something working, Oh, they're not going to tell anybody, because if everybody learns about it, boy, it's not going to work anymore. Well, we're kind of the microcosm of the technical analyst area. I often tell people, statistically, 90% of all trades are based upon fundamental decisions. That means 10% of all trades are done on a technical basis. And right now, I'm pretty well estimating that probably 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1% is candlestick analysis. So we could tell everybody we know in the candlestick universe about a successful trading program, and it still wouldn't make a wrinkle in any of the markets out there. That's right. And Don M. is one of the ones that we are going to try to talk into having him come on a options night and tell us about his trading techniques. Dust. This is the kind of the failure rate back to the 50. Notice exactly what happened at the 50, a bullish engulfing signal. Where do you think this is going back to? At least testing the 200. If it breaks through the 200, same move as this, up in this range someplace. AMBA. AMBA, we've been following. Notice the little scoop type pattern down here. How long do you hold this? Until it closes below the T-line? And this is one of the things that I had to get through. This is another part of, that's what book 3 was written for. Candlestick profits, eliminating your emotions. Because if I held on to this one and I took profits here, I wouldn't get back in before, because, man, if they fooled me, they're not going to get me back in so they could fool me again. At least now I can see when the profit taking is over and the buying starts back and it's still continuing the trend, I can get right back in again. So there's many times I'll close out a position and then I'll buy it back higher, knowing that I'm still in the right direction. If this is I don't know what this was, and I only get 28 points of it, but each time I put on the trade, I knew it was moving in the right direction, that's fine with me, because I'm more interested in being profitable on more correct trades than totally profitable on a few trades. Yeah, I'd still be buying AMBA here with the idea that as long as it stays above the T-line, you can stay long. This is U2 coming out of this fry pan bottom, J-hook type pattern, and notice what it did on the way back to the T-line. Doji, 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 indecisive trading. Now they've told you that the next wave is in progress, probably going to be the same magnitude as this wave, another 5 points to the upside. Holly, there's a belt hold. Belt hold is if you're in a trend and they gap it down and then bring it back up into the trend area. That tells you they've wiped out a lot of sellers. And whatever this caused this gap down and then the bulls started stepping in, they've taken out a lot of selling that was in this trend, which means now there's no sellers in front of you, that this trend is usually going to act pretty strong. So not only do you have a belt hold telling you the sellers are gone, but now you've got a J-hook pattern that tells you that if this move here is equivalent to this move here, more than likely your next target is up here to the 200-day moving average. So we're trying to find anything that tells us that the probabilities, again, are pretty strong that you're in the right direction at the right time. And not only in the right direction at the right time, but the magnitude of the move. I mean, there's always going to be all rising boats and a rising tide. What we're looking for is those rising boats that are rising a lot faster than the rising tide. ABMD, breakout. Anytime you see that strong breakout, remember, the bigger the signal, the more likely your uptrend or the investor sentiment is going to be in progress. I would still suspect there's a 45-degree off of here that this is going to continue higher. And there's been so many times where we've seen that situation. Maybe this wasn't it. I guess way back here on SWKS. Notice the kicker type signal. But as soon as they close it above the T-line, We stayed long until we took profits here. We bought back here, closed out back or over here, and now ready to buy back. HA, which is Hawaiian Air. There's your fry pan bottom. There's your bobble. What happens when they break through a resistance level? They usually come back to see if it's going to act as support. In this case, we could see immediately that there was indecision when it came back to the 50. You can be buying this one. If this opens positive tomorrow, doing a doji sandwich, breaking out through here, you're in the no man's land, which means your next target is filling the gap up in this area. SUPN. There's kind of a belt hold piercing signal. More of a piercing signal. Usually a belt hold is significantly below the trading, but you had the piercing signal, and now you're starting. There's your classic fry pan bottom, strong price move, J-hook pattern. I would definitely be a buyer of this one on positive trading. And remember, we looked at cyber because this is the obvious. The obvious is when you're seeing a signal like our doji sandwich breaking through a downtrending channel, that tells you there's a new dynamic in this stock, that somebody's coming in with new enthusiasm. Same scenario on pod. There's our doji. There's our bull line. There's our break of this downtrending channel. Where do you think the next likely target is? Up here at the 200, which is basically filling this gap right here. So convergence analysis is basically putting as many pieces of positive elements in the analysis to make the probabilities. The more pieces that you can put into the analysis is telling us that things are going higher, the higher the probability that that's exactly what's happened based upon historic results of candlestick patterns. Notice the doji breakout here on the tile shops, TTS. Wave 1, fry pan bottom, going into wave 3. Fry pan bottoms have very positive results, which are when they start breaking out, that usually means there's new force coming in. There's going to be a lot more upside. That's CMC. This is FWM. Notice the doji gap up through the resistance level. Where do you think this one's going? I would suspect that now it's consolidated, that it's going back up very quickly to the top of the, or back up to the initial trend. FANG is one of the oils. Another fry pan bottom. Broke out into new high today. Wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one. Suspecting it moving up right back up to this area, probably up another 10, 15 points. Another oil is SM. Fry pan bottom. If it opens positive tomorrow, breaking out through this level, your next target is the 200-day moving average. SN. Fry pan bottom setting up. You can stay long on this one. Now, do we want to be buying a fry pan bottom that's not very active? Well, even if this takes a week or two to get back up to the breakout level, that's still a good 15% move just to see whether it's going to work or not. When you enter a trade, do you ever worry about earning calls that may happen while holding? No. Remember, the signals are the cumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling during a specific time frame. And if part of that is that everybody knows that earnings are coming up this afternoon or tomorrow or next week, they're still buying. That tells you they're buying because they've got cumulative knowledge more than we do. We're just seeing what the charts are telling us. WLK, another one that's probably heading up, breaking out from this fry pan bottom, hopefully through the 200 and higher. We're going to let Darren, we're going to let Hubert do that. I'm going to give him a call tomorrow and see if he can come back and do an additional session. I think I've gotten most everything. I think so. All right, so with that, usually we ask if there's any general questions on candlesticks. Hold your individual stock ones until I tell Jim to do the double line. Is there a clue of where the fry pan bottom turns? Usually it's a kind of a wave 3, so that's wave 1. Wave 3 will be about the same. But my main criteria is I stay long. I stay long as you don't see a sell signal and a close below the T-line. Stochastics have nothing to do with price movement. Stochastics have to do with what the current price movement is. So the price doesn't have to go higher to get higher stochastics. All we're doing is trying to see where the stochastics are in that current trend. So all you're looking at on stochastics are you in the oversold area and there's a buy signal, or are you in the overbought area and a sell signal? It doesn't matter where the stochastics are on the next price moves. Did we do Olin? Yes, Olin is like CNAT. That's your message, telling you that yesterday's or Friday's profit taking after the open is over. Look for a 45 degree to come off of here. Let's see, which one was that? Ecom. Ecom, really not. That was more of a flat there, and this is a very simple rule. When it broke out, this is more of a slow curve. You hold it until you see a candlestick sell signal and a close back below the T-line. Do I look at Greeks? D, I don't look at Greeks at all, because what's a good example? For example, the Greeks on Bont would have meant nothing compared to the new move after the kicker signal. I would say the Greeks are probably more applied to if you're just trading the big stocks. That just based on the market moves, you probably want to use the Greeks then. If you're trading the candlestick signals, trying to find the ones that are going to move a lot faster or with more force. MP, CON, I don't know if that's a belt hold because I can't get CON to come up. TOS just went down. That's good news. What is the difference between stocks and options? Jim, options are just a piece of paper that says you're allowed to buy that stock at a certain price in the future. And usually the expiration or that date that you can buy it is usually the third Friday of every month. So if I'm buying April calls right now, that means the third Friday is when it expires. So I need the price of that stock to move between now and April, whatever that is, whatever the third Friday is. Okay, Don, thank you. I usually grab Delta 70 Delta on options for candlestick signals. Dennis, that's a question to ask Don M. AB, that is a question for anybody in here, whether they're making money with candlesticks. I can put it this way. Before candlesticks came along, I was the worst investor in the world. I was even a stockbroker for 8 years. I got out of the business because I realized that brokerage firms had no more ideas what made stock prices go up or down. All they could do is keep telling you that as long as you buy companies that are making consistently growing, the market's eventually going to help you out. No, because when you're buying the options, Jim, you're not buying an option. You're buying a method for buying the underlying stock. So your analysis is is the stock doing a positive chart. Now, if you analyze that a stock's doing a positive chart, now your options, if you'll pardon the redundancy, is do I want to buy the stock or do I want to buy the option to buy the stock? So if you think this is going to move in a certain time frame or move a certain price in a certain time frame, you buy the options. If you just like it and want to hold it, you buy the stock. The options room, you usually have about 50 people in there, and it is set up strictly for people to throw option strategies around. And so we made it a separate room so people wouldn't be talking option strategies in the main room, which a lot of people in the main room are still trying to learn how to use the chart patterns just to trade stocks. So we made it into a separate room, and that way people can be discussing different strategies for different patterns. All right, thank you, MP. If you need information about the options room, it's a separate service. We don't push it. It's more for people that are very interested in options. If you email Abraham at candlestickforum.com, he'll give you the details on it. Bud, email Abraham at Candlestick Forum. Somebody want to type that in for everybody? Okay, Jim, you want to go ahead and do the double line? Oh, Jim, looks like you missed the first double line. All right. Now do the second double line in 2.8 seconds. Oops. That's why we try to stop it, because the screen scrolls so fast. Oops, we're still doing it. All right. Let's see. I make almost all my money from Monday night double line. What did Gene do today? Oh, Gene was a very nice chart. Notice all the dojis in the oversold area. What's dojis represent? Indecision. And if one doji means indecision, a series of dojis means greater indecision. And if you have a series of dojis showing great indecision and it opens positive, this stock was up, what, 20 or greater than 25, probably 35% today. Well, there's a good possibility this one could double. It could come right back up here to the fill that gap and possibly test the recent highs. So essentially what the chat room does for you is there's lots of people out there with all levels of education on candlesticks, just sitting and watching and having somebody, you'll see the ones that usually come out with the good picks or good setups. You can go to that chart and see why it's being recommended or why they're picking it. How much time do you spend in the options room? Do you talk twice a day like you do here? Andrea, usually I go in, I usually don't spend as much time in the options room because I'm just saying, all right, here's setups that you want to be looking for. Here's what the market's doing. So I may spend 5, 7, 8 minutes in the options room, and then I come out into the other room and do that for whatever we do, 45 minutes to an hour. Whoops, DIPH is not coming up. CTAS. There's kind of your belt hold bearish engulfing signal, and there's your little left-right combo right on the 50. Very simple. If this opens positive, you're going to have a doji sandwich breaking this little downtrending channel. You can be a buyer and stay long as it stays above the T line. And CHKP, doji sandwich, not a real exciting stock because it's got this trend channel, but at least right now you know your next target is the top of the trend channel. So you can be buying If I was buying on this positive trading tomorrow, I'd just simply stay long until I see it close, or I wouldn't want to see it close back below the T line. CTRN, another good breakout with a doji sandwich breaking this downward trend channel, and you're sitting right here. If this opens positive, that tells you this resistance level is not acting as resistance. And notice the big hammer signal. If that's a true signal, and then the next day was your bullish Harami, pretty much told you the selling was over, the panic selling. Where do most people sell? They panic sell. The candlestick signals tell you when the buyers start stepping in. Let's see. The yen. Is this the yen? How do I get the yen? The yen. No, I can do this. Oh, I know why. Oh, pshaw. I don't trade the yen very often. There it is. All right, let's see if I do JYAY5. Let's go to the euro, and I can probably do that a little bit more successfully. The euro is in the downtrend. So this is why you observe the obvious. The obvious is this is the resistance level. And once it got back up to that resistance level, with stochastics up near the overbought area and it does a bearish engulfing signal, where do you think the next target will probably be? It'll probably bring it down to the bottom of the trend channel. Obviously, that's the exact opposite of the dollar. The dollar bottomed. It's probably coming back up to the top of the trend channel. Okay, all right. VNQ. There's your J-hook pattern. You can buy this on positive trading. Wave 1, wave 3 should take you up to test the recent highs. The oil sector still just kind of in this little bobble. I don't know why this chart keeps getting, but it's in the 50. If it comes back up through the 50, you want to be buying. It's got the J-hook pattern, the breakout of the 50, and telling you the bobble is being confirmed. Coop was a fry pan bottom, hit the 50, doing the bobble also. So if you took profits here, or if you held on to it, as long as it stayed above the T-line, you could get ready to buy it if it comes back up through the 50, because that would give you that classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. U.S. Steel, another one that you can stay long, not excruciatingly exciting, but at least you know you're probably on an uptrend. First target is probably going to be right here. If it breaks out through there, then you're going for the 200. But right now you've got that fry pan bottom, and all you have to do on this one is stay long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. LNG is having a hard time getting out of its own way here. As you can see, it's pretty much sideways. However, if I was going to buy this, I'd put a buy stop at $50.30. If it came up through there, we know that the upward trend channel is still in progress, and more than likely we're going to the top of the trend channel. OPK, another one you can buy on positive trading, but I'd be buying more aggressively if it broke out through the top, because now you have wave 1, wave 2. Notice the selling was stopped with the bullish Harami. Doji, if it opens positive, they're going to move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. Means they're heading for the breakout area. ACAD, Acadia. You can buy this one on positive trading. You just have to be careful when it gets to the 50 to see if it can break through the resistance level. And Bank of America really hasn't been all that exciting. Bank of America is still in a downtrend. It's got to close above the T-line. Right now, I wouldn't be long or short this one. Just nothing there. V-Built. Closed below the T-line today. This told you should have closed it out. You can always buy it back if it does another buy signal back up through the T-line. OHI, there's your bobble. Hit the 50. Did a little flutter kicker here. Notice how it opened here and closed here. Then it opened at or above the previous day's open on a doji. Which way did they move it? They moved it positive after a positive open on a doji. There's your J-hook. Makes this very simple. You can buy this one on positive trading, telling you that the 50-day moving average is not going to act as resistance. Another one, Jern, if it opens positive, you can be buying the doji sandwich breakout. AMGN. Not very exciting as far as price movement, but you stay long on this one. It's got a big fry pan bottom, which means everything's starting to head back up again. AMWD, you can buy this one on positive trading. The little doji gap up. And fold. Fold, get ready to buy this one on positive trading if it does a little kicker, trend kicker type signal after the bullish move off the T-line. Oops, going to scroll right past me again. Monsanto. Nothing here yet. It's trying. This one needs to close above the T-line to get in it. I wouldn't. Yeah. Boeing did a doji gap up off the 50, doing a scoop type pattern. You can buy this one on positive trading. Silver Wheaton. Stay short. Did a bearish doji sandwich after your left-right combo, a close below the T-line. I would suspect you're in a bearish J-hook pattern on this one. The Russell, gap up like the Dow. Everything you stay in long as it stays above the T-line. JP Morgan. As long as JP Morgan stays above the T-line, the markets are going to hold up well. Same scenario with Goldman Sachs with a gap up. The uptrend will remain in progress as long as the big brokerages stay positive. Keep an eye on Ovis. Ovis, we got in and got back out of it with kind of the little tweezer top and dark cloud signal. But now it's sitting back here on this, getting near the support level. I'm watching this because notice this is kind of that spreading action. But if they bounce it off of here, the next move could be back up to the top, and they could do it fairly quick. Usually when they whipsaw these, they whipsaw them right back up. So keep an eye on this one. Lulu's had a hard time getting out of its own way. I wouldn't be long or short Lulu. Remember the other day when it gapped up, it still didn't do a reversal signal. Still having a hard time getting through the 50, you're sideways. I'd be trading something else on this one, or trading something else other than Lulu. MDXG, another kind of uptrending. If this one opens positive, your doji sandwich will be in progress. UTHR. First target right now, I would suspect is the top of the trend channel, and then just watch to see if it does a 45-degree off of there. Credit Suisse, this is your ADR. You stay long on this as long as it stays above the T-line. And UFS, another one where all you can do is stay long as it stays above the T-line. You can see that it's been using the T-line as support. ISIL, nothing here yet until they can get it back up above the T-line. As a matter of fact, I'd continue to go short on this one if it came back down through today's low. I wouldn't buy it until you see a definite close above the T line. TRV, another little warning star type signal. All you can do on this one is stay long as it stays above the T line. The Qs, just like the NASDAQ, up strong today. You stay long on these as long as it stays above the T line. Bristol Myers, nothing here yet until they can get it back up through the T line. Remember, anytime you're below the T line, you're usually going to see some strong move to the downside. We did LPI. We're still long on this on the fry pan bottom. And you can still be buying this on positive trading with the fry pan bottom getting very close to a breakout of this little level right here. CLF, I got to make this one bigger. CLF really hasn't done anything too intriguing. It's been in a big steady downtrend. If you're buying it, you got to watch to see what it does at the 50 because that's going to be part of the resistance. Murphy Oil, another one that I wouldn't be trading because of the sideways movement until it breaks out one way or the other. There's nothing there to show you any strong buying. Bidu, same scenario, just kind of in a sideways. Nothing here to get real enthusiastic about. HPTX did a gap up. You did a doji. You did a gap up. At this point, I would probably pick someplace back down here. As a matter of fact, if it opened lower tomorrow, I probably would start taking profits because notice how far away you are from the T line as well as the 3T line. Just it needs to open positive and trade positive to indicate there's no profit taking going on yet. W-Wave, nothing wrong here. You're still closed above the 3T line. You're still coming out of this slow curve type pattern. I'd still suspect you're in an uptrend on this one. Tazar. Tazar is in the bobble. If I was going to buy this, I'd pay $25.60 for it, knowing it came up through the 200. I'm sorry, through the 50. Where did I do? That was way down here. SYN, nothing here. Wouldn't be in this one at all. And RATA, you can get, RATA needs something stronger. If this opens positive tomorrow, back up in the profit-taking area today, you can be buying it. Just use the T-line as your stop. And EXAS needs to break out above this level. Not a real intriguing chart. Might be a double bottom, so if you're buying it, you definitely have to watch to see what it does once it gets back up to the 50. EWC, nothing here. As a matter of fact, I'd be ready to go short if it opened lower tomorrow. You can see where the trend channel is. You can see where the bottom of the wedge is. You're probably at least coming back down here. I wouldn't be trading this one at all. And WDC, you stay short until you see a buy signal. FNHC, another one I wouldn't be long or short. This one's sideways. I would rather pay 31 bucks for this knowing it broke out through the resistance levels. And IG, another one that has nothing going for it. As a matter of fact, this one I'd be going short if it came back down through today's low, which would also be the 200-day moving average. AGEN had a little bit of life today. Another one that has to definitely break out through this level to get out of this sideways mode. If you're long, you stay long, but you definitely watch to see what it does once it gets up to that resistance level. DRI, just stay long on this one. Set Zillow. Zillow, you're still in a downtrend. Ever since your big move, notice what they did the next day, the bearish Harami, and then there's your flutter kicker to the downside. What do you do now? You stay short until you see a buy signal. Electronic Arts. This one you can be buying on positive trading with the anticipation that the trend channel is still in progress ever since your Morningstar signal. making the top of your trend channel the target. And CBT, this one you can be buying on positive trading tomorrow above the 50. Notice a little kicker type signal. Open here, close down here. Then they gapped it up and traded it positive. A true kicker signal should side, but it still gives you an indication there's a strong change of investor sentiment. You can be buying this one if it comes up through the 50 tomorrow. And NXPI. A lot of these where they got hit hard, came back up. You can buy this on positive trading, anticipating the uptrend still in progress, as long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. Same thing with NVAX. If this opens positive, doing a doji sandwich up through the T-line, you stay long, anticipating now you're in this next wave up. Or they could move this up very quickly, back up to the top of the trend channel, and then start your 45-degree from there. DuPont, nothing here. You stay short until you see a buy signal and a close above the T-line. Now, if I had been short and it opened positive today, I would have closed it out with the anticipation it was going to come back up and test the T-line. Now, if it opens lower and trades back below today's open, I'd reshort it with the anticipation they're still coming down to the test the 200-day moving average. Facebook, all you can do right now is stay long as it's above the T-line. Twitter, same scenario, just stay long. Don't want to see it close below the T-line. SRPT, got a little bit of a slow curve. If it opens positive, it's breaking out, but then you watch to see what it does at the first resistance level up here at the $18 range. But just to come up to the $18 range will be, $16 range will be 2.5 points or 2 points. Still a 12% move just to get to the resistance level, which isn't bad. AMGN, another one you can buy on positive trading using the T-line as your stop. AMRN, if this opens positive, you can be buying it and then use the T-line as your stop. CYTX, same scenario. You can buy on positive trading. Oh, Rick, have no idea which one you're referring to. ARG, you can. It needs to open positive tomorrow, and it shouldn't trade back below the T-line. Oracle, I wouldn't trade this because it's sideways. It's an institutional trader now, and it doesn't move very much. If you like it, you can be buying it on positive trading, but it's not anything that I'd get real excited about. Oh, XV is nothing that I can see. SUNE, another one that has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, after your big bearish engulfing signal, they failed to get to a new high, coming back below the T-line, I'd be out of it. Once, stay long on this one. Eyes needs to get back up above the T-line. If it opens positive, you can buy it, and then don't let it close back below the T-line. Whoops. Apple came back up. Not any real reversal signal, just support here. I wouldn't buy it until it breaks this downtrend 3. And obviously, if Apple keeps moving up, more than likely, the markets aren't going to be selling off real hard. PRMW, another one where all you can do is stay long until you see a sell signal and a close back below the T-line. SPY, stay long above the T-line. Box, Another one you can be buying. Just make sure your volume is good on this one. RMD. Stay ResMed, just stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T-line. Wynn Resorts, nothing here. Sideways, it needs a strong buy or sell signal to do something. We did Zillow, CST. I would rather pay $45 for this knowing that it broke out through the resistance level. Right now, it's got a J-hook pattern. If it opens positive and starts coming up, you can buy it, but you definitely need to see it get through the $45 range. CNET, there's your message. If it opens positive tomorrow, you can start buying it. It tells you the profit taking will be over. Ford, Ford, you stay long. We're in this for the longer term. As long as it stays above the 50, we stay long. If you're looking to buy this one, you can start buying it on a trade if it trades back up through the T-line tomorrow. And ARIA, another one you can stay long as it stays above the T-line. How do you know if you should look at a long-term trend, 1 year, etc., or a recent run to determine a target? Because I'm a swing trader, I just want to see where it's going to go based upon the next resistance level. Doesn't matter what it did a year ago or even 3 months ago. I want to see what it's doing now. Let's see, the Japanese yen trust still on its way down. Looks like it failed here at the 50-day moving average. And EWJ, the short fund, is that the that's the Japanese market. You can stay long as that stays above. Okay, thank you, Marty. How about corn? Let me see if I've got something that would be corn. Oh, like the lady that backed into the meat grinder and got a little behind in her work. Is that corn? CEAK. This one you get ready to buy. Notice the bobble. You can buy this on positive trading. They're breaking out through this level. Doji sandwich. Oops. Doji sandwich on DXY. Is that the dollar? Yeah, a little doji type sandwich. I'd be buying the dollar. With so many that I'm sure many will flash to buy. If you can't buy all, how do you choose? That's what we do in our scanning process, Brad, is figuring out how to quantify which ones are the best ones. And usually I've got a video that quantifies. A lot of people ask which signals are the best, and they all work well. That's why out of the 50 or 60 signals, we've got the 12 major signals that work a lot better than, not only a lot better, but they're usually 99.9% of all the signals you're going to be watching, those 12 major signals. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, but a lot of people ask which ones are better than the others. They all work well depending on the market conditions, but there are some, like the left-right combo or the best friend, which is a doji gap up, or the fry pan bottom breakout, that you're looking for the ones that have the highest probabilities of not only being correct as far as the move, but also have a very strong move when it works. GG, get ready to short this one on weakness tomorrow. Bearish J-hook pattern. Andrea, this is your ADR. Oh, an ADR is something that trades in the United States as well as overseas. So you'll see it actually do a lot of choppy trading, because if it's trading on the New York Exchange as well as on the Asian Exchange, they're trading over there at night, and then they open up at a different price here from what they did the night before. So they're usually very choppy looking. BBR, you stay short on this one. Alcoa, a little kicker type signal today. Thing with this one until it can get a close above the T line. Let's see. REGN needs to close up above the T line. You can buy this one on positive trading tomorrow. And BIIB, this one has to close above the T line. Right now, there's nothing in here that's showing any great enthusiasm. The bigger stocks like Oracle, IBM, Microsoft, things that are put into institutional accounts, usually won't trade very actively. They're slow moving because there's millions of shares traded every day. So they don't usually have any great big percentage move. If Apple goes up, the markets will sell off. No, usually if Apple goes up, the markets won't sell off. Or usually kind of one of the bellwethers. Bitcoin. Let's see, the 30-year bonds. Just kind of in the slow uptrend. Let's see which one, AMs. Yeah, just kind of a slow uptrend. It's not showing that there's any not any great downside or upside, which means the interest rates aren't going to usually go anywhere. Oh, I don't know if Gene reports. Anybody know when Gene reports? That's still a good-looking chart. Yep. XIV. The VIX. Is that the short VIX? Yeah. So as long as the market's going up, the short VIX will go up. DGAS. Yeah, nothing real exciting about DGAS. You can stay long as it stays above the T line, but yeah, it's still a good-looking chart. Teva, if it opens positive tomorrow, its profit taking is over. You've got a nice J-hook pattern. If it opens lower, definitely closing below the T line, you want to close it out. And Zynga, doing kind of the little bobble right here at the using the 200 and the T line as support. You can buy this one on positive trading tomorrow, using the T line as support. Tesla is nothing exciting here. You're still in a very slow downtrend. Nothing that would make me want to trade Tesla right now, long or short. Would you consider sector movement with individual stock movements, or would you make decisions based upon the individual stocks only? No, I'd rather be buying a stock that's trading positive with the sector showing that everything's trading positive. So the other way to look at it is, if we can analyze which direction the market is moving, and then we can analyze, so if the market's trading positive, and then we can analyze which sectors are moving positive, then we can go to those sectors and see which ones of those stocks are trading with the best signals, and that's kind of putting all the your stars in alignment. There's going to be times where you see a stock in a sector that's heading down, all of a sudden show a strong buy signal and pop up, but you got to look at that with a little bit of skepticism, doubt. That may just be somebody covering their short positions. I'd rather be buying good bullish charts in a bullish sector and good bearish charts in a bearish sector than buying the odd one that's not conforming with the rest of them. Let's see, Momo. Whoops. Oh, Mobo, nothing here yet that I'd get real excited about. You're in a downtrending channel, kind of a wedge. I'd probably be trading someplace else. And Las Vegas Sands, another one that I'd probably be trading someplace else. You can see you're in a downtrend and you're moving sideways. Nothing here to get excited about. Okay, last one, BlackBerry, stay short. There's kind of your belt hold that they gapped it up and brought it right back down. If this was a message, it should have opened positive and traded positive. They're still on a downtrend on this one. Did we do Box? I thought we did Box. Box you can be buying, but you want to see it break this downtrending channel also. You do have kind of a cradle pattern. Notice a big down day, a series of indecisive flat trading, and then the bullish day. You can be buying this one. Just watch what it does once it gets to the first resistance level. All right, last one, NDRO. Nothing here to get excited about. You do have a potential scoop pattern, but you need to see something strong. You're just barely above the T-line with not a whole lot of enthusiasm. You need to see a strong buy signal. Okay, I kept everybody past their bedtime. All right, we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning in the chat rooms. We'll see you then.